is going to get us started. He wants to know, obviously practice is important today, but how important is it for you, players, everybody to get a bit of a mental break on a day off like this too?
Yeah, no, today was pretty much really easy practice flow. We didn't have any meetings, video. It was the players have been getting so much information the last few days. Today was just come, get some energy out of the legs, kind of feel the puck a few times, shoot it, and get ready for tomorrow.
Obviously, there were lots of good offensive performances last night, but what would you say about the way you guys defended and what you can take out of that moving forward?
Well, defense is so important. Obviously, you need to score goals to win a hockey game, but the old adage of defense wins championships, and there's very few, if any, teams that have ever won a championship who didn't defend very well. And I think it was important that we checked in the defensive zone, on our forecheck. All those defensive details are good, and we got to give credit to the opposition. LA's got a lot of good players. They're going to make some plays, and we got to just try and limit those.
There was a few instances last night where the Kings tried to make you guys take the bait after the whistle, and Evander said, this is our third time against these guys. It's a little easier to laugh it off. Just some thoughts on your team staying disciplined with that after whistle stuff throughout this series.
Yeah, no, I think it's very, very important, and it's not necessarily easy to do. You get punched in the face, and, you know, sometimes referees feel it's enough to call a penalty. Sometimes it's not, and, you know, sometimes you just have to take them, and sometimes you get rewarded with a power play, sometimes you don't. And I liked our guys' response, and, you know, when we want to be sticking up for each other, we want to be have that pack mentality. But it's really important that we're not the ones taking that extra penalty.
You had a lot of success yesterday, obviously, on the power play. You know, the Kings likely will make some adjustments on their penalty kill. How much of a chess match do you think that could be in this series, just making adjustments on your power play, countering what they're doing on a penalty kill, or are you just kind of sticking with what you're doing while it works?
Yeah, we've got some ideas of what they could do to change and add a little more pressure or tighten it up, whatever they plan on doing. And I know Glenn's got a good handle on the power play and what our players need and the amount of information they're going to receive, and also the experience of seeing LA for so many years and knowing exactly what they might do and any little wrinkles they might add to make it a little more difficult for our power play to have success.
Coaches have different philosophies on line matchups and chasing matchups. Yeah, I'm not around you guys all year, but it felt like you were that, you know, the minutes would distribute the way you want it. And I only ask because some teams want their top line maybe not to play against them.
No, Deneau is obviously good checking forward, and yeah, I would like to stay away from that. But, you know, if their lines are playing, 4 lines are playing 15 minutes each, you know, with the lines that we have with McDavid and Connor, we're not going to match 15 minutes to theirs. We got to play to our strengths, and to do that, we just kind of have to play with a little more flow. And yeah, I would like matchups. I would like to say I want this line against this one every single time, but I think it's more important for our team just to play.
Kris, the desperation from a team when they're down 1-0 can sometimes be higher than the team who's won. How do you ensure you match that tomorrow night? Your groups struggled a lot for winning game 1, and now they did, and they've been very good in game 2. How do you ensure that you have the, you know, the same, if not higher, desperation level tomorrow?
I think a lot of it is, you know, the players' eagerness to do well, and they're very driven. They're don't want to let up, and you know, from the coaching staff, I think it's important that we reinforce the things that we did well that we need to do again, and it's not going to happen easily. We're going to see a better team tomorrow with LA. We have to make sure we match it. And you look at the game, and there's certain times I thought we played well. I think we deserved to win, but there was times when a key moment it could have changed. Whether, you know, there was a, you know, we got a power play that we were able to score on. You know, that gave us a lot of insurance, or the breakaway save Stu made that we went down and immediately scored after that. You know, the change of events there, it's a different hockey game. And I think it's important that we do the things that we did well, reinforce that, and we make sure we do it again. But also, you know, that we improve on some of the aspects of our game that are just some of the details that are very important.
Down the stretch, you made sure that you wanted to get guys who had been out a game or two stay in the flow. Is playoffs different for that way when it comes to skaters? Is it more difficult to switch your lineup?
Yeah, no, it's more difficult to just switch up the lineups, and it's going to be hopefully, if we're successful, it's going to be a longer postseason, and there's a lot of games to play. But right now, you can't be thinking about the next round or what's happening in the future. It's win now mode.
Kris, do you think the players take on a bit of the personality of the coach on the bench during the game? So if you're under control, there's a better chance that your players will be under, because you're quieter than some of the other coaches that have been here in the past, especially in terms of engaging with the officials.
I've always battled her. Yeah, you always want the players to be calm, composed, focused on playing. And I felt my experience, anytime that I've lost control, got angry, yelling, it's just distracting for the players. It's not a motivating factor for them. It's not going to improve their play. As much as I'd like to get all worked up and start yelling at maybe a player that I'm unhappy with or an official's call, it's usually counterproductive.
Morning, Kris. Or sorry, good afternoon. Just over here on your right. Sorry for the long-winded question in advance, but just kind of revisiting a topic that we talked about in November and December when you were first hired with the Oilers. I noticed today at the beginning of practice, you took a few minutes with Philip Broberg, just communicating things. And I know communication is a big aspect of your coaching. Why is it so important to be so upfront and ensure that the communication lines are always open between you and the players, and what kind of an impact has that had on this team since you took over in November?
As a coach, well, just as a player, I know what it's like to not know what's going on. And whether you're a first-line player or a player that's not playing or third-line role, whatever it is, just knowing what their expectations are. And usually a player's not playing well, it's not because he's not motivated, it's usually because, and I'll rewind, it's not that I think Broberg's not playing well, or any player. Anytime that there's some distractions, it's usually because they don't, there's stressors in their life, there's uncertainty. And I think for a player to play his best, they should know where they fit, are they valued, and what we expect from them. So I think just trying to, as a coach, you can say I think I communicate with my players a lot, but as I know, I can always communicate more, and I think whatever profession you are in, that's probably the case.
As the season goes on and the stakes get higher game by game, shift by shift, period by period, does that communication element get more important as you kind of head down the stretch?
I think, I don't know, as it goes on, I'd like to stay in touch with the players and talk to them and tell them what they're doing well and what they can improve. And I guess as for my coaching philosophy, I think communication is really important. And as we go forward, these games are certainly more important than they were a few months ago. So, yeah, I guess to answer your question, I guess it is.
Kris, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins hadn't scored very much down the stretch, and he even said he lamented missing that pass that Leon gave him on the 2-on-1. Obviously, he made amends for it very quickly thereafter. How do you think that can really shape a guy's confidence who's trying to obviously score and be a big part of your offense?
Well, you've seen it. It's amazing what happens when a player puts the puck in the net, what it does for their game. Just the fact that they scored, they feel that they can do it again immediately after. You look at throughout the season, a couple of players come to mind. Ryan McLeod, in the game in Winnipeg, was scoring goals after that. Later on the season, Connor Brown scored that goal, and it was ugly, driving to the net. I think it went off his skate or his body, but was able to score a few times after that. So for any player, it doesn't matter if you're top of the line or near the bottom in the lineup. I think it's important for players' confidence.
Now, he's a player, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, that touches a lot of parts of the game, obviously very high among your penalty killers. But the fact that he hadn't scored a lot down the stretch, was that a concern to you as a coach?
Not a concern. He's been very beneficial for our team, whether that's been on the penalty kill. I think penalty kill's been doing a really good job. Obviously, the power play's been near the top of the standings throughout the year, and his 5-on-5 play has been solid. So, yeah, would I like to puck go in the net a little bit more? But I also know there's a lot of it is due to luck and lack of hitting a goal post, goalie making big saves, just missing the net, or whatever it is. I don't think that ever in my mind that I thought Ryan, because he wasn't scoring, he wasn't contributing, it wasn't helping our team. I think he's been doing so many things to help our team succeed.
Kris, just one more for me. I think yesterday you touched on the fact that you felt like your team did a good job of not letting the Kings set up in their 1-3-1. Can you kind of touch on what you saw that allowed you guys to do that, to not let them set up?
Just playing fast, just not holding the puck. Our defense got the puck, and they're looking for our forwards, and it's really important our forwards are getting out of the zone so we can move that puck up quickly. I don't know, I think as a coach, if you orchestrate plays so much, it just takes away the creativity of them being able to play the game. And I think the most of it is, yes, our coaches are important to have an impact on the game and have a philosophy and a system to play, but you don't want to take away the abilities of the players. And, there's so many players that can do that. And as a coach, you don't want to stifle their ability to make those plays through having too much structure.